Welcome to Laugh and Learn. I'm Gerald, TarotStache. Today, I'm here with Purple Elephant Deb H and Linda de Gonzalez, and we're revisiting a conversation that still matters very deeply. It is grief and mourning and how we heal. Grief never disappears. Our relationship with it changes. And let's talk about how love and ritual help us keep moving forward. This is a continuation from a conversation I had back in 2022 with Joe, and that original show is linked below. It's very, very helpful. It's been 3 years. I watched it again. It was very, very insightful. And I do want to bring on my guest. I have Purple Elephant Deb H. Hi, Deb.
Hello.
And then I have the amazing Linda de Gonzalez.
Hi.
Of course, I am TarotStache. I appreciate everybody being willing to spend some time with us today. We are simulcasting this on all 3 of our channels. And please show your support by subscribing to all of our channels. They are listed in the description. Also, different ways to show your support for our channels is there as well. If you're watching on my channel, TarotStache, this will be available as a podcast later, so you can listen to all of us while you're out walking and doing your exercises and running errands. And please be aware, if we are not responsible, that if you have earphones in or headphones on and you start laughing while you're out shopping for groceries, you're welcome, is all I got. You're welcome. So, and of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. Do not make decisions based upon what we say. Seek professional assistance. Really. I am so grateful that the 2 of you were willing to come on and have this conversation. Thank you.
Thanks for inviting us. Yeah.
Yeah. I have it notarized that Linda will come on any show that I ask her to on my channel.
Yeah. I think you have that recorded on several different occasions. Yeah.
It's your ringtone. It's your ringtone. So, so how are each of you today before we say hello to people who are joining us? Deb, how are you?
I'm actually feeling a little better. I had my 3 radiation treatments recently, and this week I've been recovering, and I feel much better today. So we'll see how that goes.
Good. Glad you. Yesterday was Thanksgiving, and I spent the evening with friends. We stuffed our faces. Well, okay, I stuffed my face with Thai food, and we had a wonderful time. It was lovely. I got to play with a baby, about 1.5 years old, and that was fun.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm doing pretty well myself.
Good.
Overall, got some busy shows, and I am hitting my deadlines for some creative pieces that are needing to be done within like a month. So I've got and Melinda's pointing at me going,
good job. No, that's like
get started.
Good.
And we have some of the best chatters here. Selena, Essence of the Moon. Maru has joined us. And for those of you who are in the know and subscribe to channels, you know Maru, Linda, Timmy, and I are going to be talking about the second and third duality pairs tomorrow. So this is wonderful. Butterflies Are Free are here. The amazing medium Betsy Palmer has joined us. Lisa is here. River is here, as well as Jenny in Virginia. Isa Shruti. I think what's going on with the way we're seeing names, something went on with YouTube.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think so too, because this is not the usual way that the names are displayed.
Yeah. Laura Snapped is here. Nancy of Crohn's Intuition has joined us.
Hi, Nancy.
And Iron Fire Horse. Nancy is looking forward to this discussion. I am as well. So Russ Bob's Barbara is here. Pierrette is here. Artist Liz. It's good to see everyone. So we're not doing readings today. We are actually having conversation about grief and mourning and the fact that it moving forward through change. And Willie has decided to make sure that everybody sees and knows that Willie is present.
Yes, he is.
So,
and he is.
But there you go. And so I wanted to give an overview about the last show. And the last show is we talked, Joe and I, who is a UK therapist, she and I talked about what the definitions are of grief and mourning. I'm going to share what this is because this is an important aspect. Grief is the internal experience of loss, and it is an intense emotional state triggered by losing someone or something. Please note that someone or something, it doesn't matter what it is. The key thing is it's about loss and losing that. Mourning is the outward expression of grief, how it is shown, ritualized, or shared publicly. Yeah. I think that is a really important aspect. Key things that Joe and I discussed were everyone grieves differently. There's no right way to grieve. The right way is your way, and judging others for the way they're grieving can actually be pretty harmful. And let me know if that happens. I'll take care of some things for you. Grief is messy. It's not linear. Don't try to make it linear. Loss takes many forms. Cultural differences matter when experiencing and exploring grief. And physical and emotional responses oftentimes overlap. It's hard to tell which one is an emotional reaction and which one is a physical reaction. Anger and depression are very valid. Grief may be expressed as displaced anger. It may show up as depression and numbness. Both need to be acknowledged, not shamed. There's also some wonderful things in here that I'll share a little bit later, but it includes this idea of you can use tarot or oracle cards to help you with the grief. Ask gentle questions like, what can I do to support myself today? It should not be used to bypass or disassociate from the grieving process. It also does not take place of seeking professional help. And hospice workers are superheroes. Sorry. They support both the dying and the living.
Yeah.
Very, very special people to be able to do that. So, and I had Quill do a summary for me, and it was the biggest takeaway. Grief is universal, yet utterly unique. The work is not to get over it, but to learn how to carry it, how to make room for grief without letting it take over every corner of life. So it's really very powerful. So on that note, I'm going to take a little sip.
Good idea.
Yes. I'm having some iced coffee. My neighbor lady gave me some chocolate milk that she got that she didn't want. So I'm putting chocolate milk in my iced coffee because I'm worth it.
Yeah, because you can.
Because I can. Because that's what being an adult is about. And speaking, if you are a best chatter, and if you want to be able to wear it, there's best chatter merchandise out there. Again, purchase responsibly, know your limits. I'm here to share, not to sell. Timmy Raven is here. Hello, Timmy. Kristen Louise, Nine Worlds Tarot. Yeah, grief is a complicated journey, isn't it?
There.
Ooh, so much.
Yeah.
So,
and everybody feels like they get to say something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And Pamela Batchelor's joined us, as well as Betsy, who says, I love a good Swiss Miss mocha. I can be a Swiss Miss. It'll take me about an hour to get the costume together. Y'all can see it now, can't you?
Yeah, I can't. It's the blonde wig with the bluebird of happiness on it.
Yes. Yeah. So healing doesn't erase grief. It changes our relationship with it.
Yeah.
It's a really important thing. Anybody want to say something about that?
You're muted, Deb.
Sorry, my neighbor is autistic and a little child, and he not. So I was muting for him. I went through this with my son, where he felt like he was betraying his dad if he moved on, if he stopped grieving. And it took a few years because he's emotionally stunted because of his disability. His age emotionally does not match his age chronologically. So he had a little bit of trouble working through the idea that it was okay to move on. It was okay to have a life and have fun. And that was not honoring his grief for his dad. So it really does not erase the grief. The grief is still there, but our relationship can change in relate to what the grief represents in our life. We have to learn to live with it, and as we do, it will change.
It's a very, very good point. Kristen Louise, Nine Worlds Tarot, said, grief often doesn't shrink. We just eventually expand our lives to live around it. Nicely said. And you get used to it and learn to live with it. Oftentimes that's what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, because the feelings are so big. You can't sustain you can't sustain those big feelings for very long.
Correct. Correct.
You just can't. You physically, biologically cannot. And so eventually it tones down. Eventually it's not the burning stick of fire through your back and you're skewering you.
Yes. And
a sliver in your finger, a paper cut.
Yeah. I think it's really powerful if just sit with that, everybody. Healing doesn't erase grief. It changes our relationship with it. So, get your head around that. This idea of is the grief isn't going to go away.
Never.
It's like a scar that's still there. How we wear that, what we do with it, is what is important. What's very important. So let's understand the process about grief. And so part of this is our tone here is going to be, we're going to be very open. We're going to be compassionate. We're also going to be steady. When we think about grief and mourning, I have a, guess what, #overachiever from a professional psychotherapy social work standpoint. Grief is a natural emotion, cognitive, physical, behavioral, and spiritual response to loss. It's the internal process of adapting to a world that has changed because something or someone of significance is gone. Mourning is the external expression of grief. Mourning is shaped by cultural, religious, and personal practices. It provides structure for the grieving person and signals to the community that support is needed. I love that last part of that because it gives structure to a grieving person and gives them, the community, a signal that support is needed, some understanding, and a bit of compassion. So we have Nancy has said, my husband passed over 2.5 years ago. Just recently, after much shadow work using the tarot as my therapist, I was able to have my deep wounds healed. I have hung my favorite pic of him to see first.
Can I just share
Yes.
something?
Yeah.
Y'all know my friend Brenda came here last summer to over the summer to visit me and ended up having a stroke. Poor woman. Anyway, yeah, don't come visit me, all right? But it was just before she came that my son took his life 8 years ago now. And it was so difficult at first because it's so unnatural. You're not supposed to outlive your kids. Like that's the law. That's the rule of nature. Okay? Now, when he was 17, my late husband painted his portrait. My late husband was an artist. A pretty good one. I mean, not stellar, but really pretty good. And I have had Matthew's portrait in the back room facing the wall forever, ever since he died. I couldn't bear to see it. I took it out just before Brenda came. And it's been sitting. I didn't know if I'd be able to look at it. But it took me that long to be able to have it in my presence looking at me.
Yeah.
I didn't even have the photos or anything like that. I couldn't look at them. I would just, even 5 years later, I would look at them and fill up with tears. And talking about it, I'm very I'm very emotional talking about it, but mostly because of my process. It's not so much because I'm talking about Matthew. It's just the whole process was so huge, big,
Yes.
hard to process, hard to go through. So much. Well, there's so much guilt with a suicide, right? There's so much guilt and regret. Should I have phoned? What should I have done? What could I have? There's so many things that I could have done. I could give you a list a mile long of everything I should have done. And maybe he'd still be alive today. So that was a big step in my grief process, is being able to look at my son's face again.
Yeah. Nancy continued that and says, to see it first thing in the morning, this brings me joy, but the journey was long and hard.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue to be that process.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And Jilly Littleson Crone has joined us. So it's great to see you, Jilly. When you lose someone you can't replace, that's true. When nothing takes the place of that person.
Oh.
At all. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that. And the same goes for when you lose a pet, you know, when you have to say goodbye to a cat or a dog or a bird. They're your heart companions,
yes.
you know, and getting getting a kitten or a puppy later does not mean that you're replacing that that replacing your friend. It means that you have room in your heart for a new friend.
Mhm. Yeah. Betsy is heading out, and Linda, you are getting so much love and
Yeah,
support.
thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But you know, the worst part was the first 3 years after he died. I couldn't talk about it. I started to cry, and I
Of course. Yeah.
couldn't talk about it.
Yeah. Yes. Deb, you're still muted if you wanted to say something.
I wanted to interject something here where to show how all of us are different is that Linda had a different experience with the burial process than I did with my dad, where Linda had more pain with it and was unable to. Okay, let me tell you my experience. When my dad passed, um, he wanted to be buried in the family cemetery out in the country in Oklahoma, and so in the hills. And so my uncle made a contract with the cemetery committee to allow him to dig a hole. And my dad was cremated, and we, my family, took him and buried him. We put him in the hole and we covered it up. And that process healed my heart, a hole in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Linda was offered a similar situation, and she was unable to do it because her grief was such that it was impossible for her to do that. So I wanted to just say that it doesn't matter how you grieve. What matters is that you grieve. The way you grieve is the way you're supposed to grieve.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that is so powerful. I want everyone to, everybody grieves differently. It's messy, it's cyclical, it's individual. If people tell you you're doing it wrong,
Dump them.
after you put your finger down and walk away, you know, this is where it's, I think it is a very important thing to honor the way that you grieve and to honor the way other people grieve. And that's hard to do sometimes.
Well, yeah, and people like I know women who have lost their husbands, whose own family, their brothers and sisters, are saying to them a year later, "Well, now you should be over. Why don't you start? I know a nice old man. I know, because like they're all my age, right? I know a nice man, and I can introduce you. And all you should you know." You should look around. Like, you're still a young woman, and you're still, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to tell those friends of mine, just punch them in the nose.
Yeah.
because that's just such a, and they don't stop. Like, they keep nagging them. It's like an unpartnered woman is somehow an offense in the sight of God. You know, you can't just leave her alone to live her life anymore.
Yes.
Yeah. No. It's, you know,
River said, I clung to the quote, what is grief if not love persevering?
Yeah. Yeah. If you love, then you will feel grief.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That just, you have to accept that.
Yes.
And for most people, the first experience of grief is losing a pet. You know, when you're a little kid and Rover dies, that's your first experience of grief. And I believe that it shapes you for your experience of loving and grieving in the rest of your life. This is just my theory. I don't know anything. Okay. Talk to a professional. Not me.
And part of what this talks about, the everybody grieving differently, there's grief across cultures. I think this is an important thing, because the idea of different cultures and this idea of letting people know you are in grief is part of that. Is like in the Western and Christian culture, black is a traditional color of mourning, and mourning clothes historically are worn for months or years, especially they were in the Victorian times. In Hindu or India, white is the color of mourning, and family may wear plain white clothing during the mourning period. There's Buddhist practices include white as mourning, especially in China and Japan. Mourners also may wear white headbands or sashes to have that be present. Judaism, mourners may wear a torn garment or a black ribbon that symbolizes loss. This is, again, part of the cultural and the religious aspect of it. It is I think it's important for us to be aware and to notice that, so that we can be respectful. I actually said I had a very embarrassing moment. Someone I hadn't seen in about a year had grown a beard, and I'd always known him to be clean shaven. And I said, "Oh, hey, what's going on? You're growing a beard." And he said his mother died, and he was Jewish, and that was part of the expectation that you would not shave. And I'm like, my immediate response was, I am so sorry for your loss. I'm just like, I can't even explain it. So there's a lot of different things with that. The length of mourning differs greatly. In sometimes there's 7 days. I think it's Shiva.
Yeah.
And 13 days in Hindu, and then 3 months to a year in others. So there's something to consider with that as well.
French Canadians, the French Canadians that I grew up with, it was a year. And my mother would comment on a woman who did not wear black for a full year after her husband died. Oh, look at her. She's wearing gray. It hasn't been a year yet, has it? Sorry.
Well, there was a snort.
She was so petty. There's snort in the grief show. Oh, yeah. That's so Linda. But she was a very petty woman and very judgmental. Yeah. And yeah, she would comment on, has it been 12 months exactly? Why?
Well, and so I have regretted talking about my daughter's death to every person I did. I have poor judgment on who to confide in. It has caused me great pain on top of unimaginable pain. I am so sorry.
And I'm sorry too, because I don't think you should ever regret talking about your daughter's death, because I mean, the first few months after I found out about Matthew's death was like I couldn't shut up about it, and I tried really hard, but it was really all I could talk about. I mean, I'm so grateful my friends didn't just dump me. But yeah, it was weird. It was a very weird time, and I was a little bit crazy. Holy.
Yeah. Jennifer talked about a deceased fiance in 2023. His family chose not to have a service, and I felt I had no closure. It was different for me, but I respected their wishes. It is one of those things, the ritual and the ceremonies that we experience are part of our grieving process. And that's so true, with the idea of here's the expectation, here's the service. And Deb, you were sharing, you were being able to, with your father, that was very healing for you. It was very helpful.
It was like throwing dirt in a hole was like filling up the hole in my heart. I didn't realize I have worked in the death industry. I was a cemetery worker. I have lost countless family members. I personally taken care of arrangements for at least a half a dozen of my family members. So I was not unaccustomed to the death process. Mm-hmm. And I never had as much healing in my own heart as when I helped fill up that hole in the ground. So never discount something that you feel moved to do. Never discount it. Mm-hmm. Because it can mean a whole lot toward your healing process.
Yeah. And my experience was so different from Deb's. Because Matthew was cremated, and we gathered to meet the family, gathered together. And they gave me his casket that they give you a little box, to bury. I can't tell this without crying. So I'll try.
You can cry all you want, and you.
Well, if I do. I don't care. I don't.
I'm glad you don't care.
I'm just telling you. And they put that box in my arms, and I had a flashback to when he was born, and the nurse put him in my arms, and I just couldn't fucking do it. I was so in both those places at the same time, holding a newborn and then holding his ashes. I couldn't put him in the hole. My daughter had to do it. I just couldn't. Mm-hmm. It broke me. It broke me. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to even be to let myself remember that moment.
Yeah.
Geez, you think I'd have Kleenex handy? Sorry.
Thank you for sharing that, Linda. There's a lot of love in the chat for you, dear.
And see, Deb found that healing, and I guess it is healing, in a way. But I was just so frozen in those two moments that were both equally real to me at that time, at that moment. Both were equally real. It literally broke me.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you, everyone.
Jilly says, I'm so glad you don't care. Cry and cry, and OMG, I'm crying too. You were there at the beginning and at the end.
Yeah.
That took all your heart, all your mother's heart and strength. Bless you.
Yeah. It's indescribable. But I'm here. I have a new life.
Mm-hmm.
I have new friends. I have this whole community that I didn't have 8 years ago.
Mhm.
I have another new life that's opening up for me soon. I new things that are happening. It's not like my life stopped. It's not like my grief for Matthew prevented me from living. Like it kind of did for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Like I just was frozen. But no, I'm not fucking amazing. Okay, I put my pants on one leg at a time, and I drop things, and I say rude things, and I'm absolutely not amazing.
Well,
No.
and I'm going to
One step at a time. That's what I did, was one step at a time, one day at a time, one breath at a time, and I put time aside. I would go into the bathroom at work and cry.
Yes.
And vape in the ladies' room, because when you're in the stalls, nobody looks at the ceiling to see that the smoke from your vape. So I would go in there and vape and cry for like half an hour. Nobody at work ever said a word to me ever about that. And I would go 2 or 3 times a day for 20 minutes, half an hour, and cry. And nobody ever said a word. They were so good to me. Nobody said a word. It was awesome. That was the best. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it was the best support. They just left me alone. Didn't comment on it, didn't say anything, just, a couple of messages on your desk for you, Linda. Oh, okay, thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So this popped up a little bit ago. It's not a real show without a few snorts. Getting to laughter when grieving is a wonderful thing. That's true.
Yeah.
Having that deep sense is so very important. So thank you.
You got to be real with yourself, more than anything. Like don't listen to people who tell you what you should ever, whether it's about grief or it's about, the colors you like wearing, or, your jeans are too tight or whatever. Who gives a shit? Life's too short. Honestly, do not listen to people's opinions of if you're acting from your heart, if you're being who you are authentically, and you're not trying to play some kind of role, if you're being who you really are and you're doing what you're called to do, fuck them.
Yeah.
I wanted to add something in the grief across cultures. My dad is from the Appalachian foothills in Oklahoma, southeastern Oklahoma, and there is a different culture there. And the respect that is shown for the grieving there is also helpful and healing. I can remember when my granddad passed in 1968, we went from the tiny town we were in to the township to go to the church to do the service. And there was a construction crew on the side of the road, and the construction crew stopped working, lined up on the road, took their helmets off while we passed. So whatever culture you're in, if they show respect to the grieving, then you are blessed, because then you can kind of count on them to help you through it. You can count on them to bring you dinners past the first week.
Yeah.
You can count on them to check in on you in 6 months and say, how are you holding up?
Yeah.
The culture that you're in, if they show the respect, then I think that you can count yourself blessed.
Well, and I think it's important for us to be aware of other cultures' traditions because they're different than mine. And if I can watch that and I go, ooh, wow, what a visible sign of community support and connection. It's so powerful. And there are some, I was raised Catholic. I got the honor and the privilege of writing obituaries for my father, my mother, my brother, and my nephew, mostly because people in the family didn't want to do them. So I'm the youngest. So guess what? You get to do that. I thought, what's interesting, the doing that and people try not to try not to cry. There are some cultures where it is over the top crying. It is all full hardcore release of that loss and that grieving. And I'm like going, that's really powerful, because when you can grieve and let it out like that, you have all that support. I think it's really powerful. So,
a lot of people talking about community and different ways that people grieve in community and also alone. And
yeah, grieving shows up in different ways. It's messy, it's weird, it's awful.
It shows up when you're not expecting it.
Oh, Christ, does it ever? Yeah.
Yes.
I'll tell you something else that I did. About 6 months after Matthew died, my hair was shorter than it is now. And I had this idea of using the clippers that I have, because I didn't, going to the hairdresser just seemed like such an enormous mountain that I just didn't feel like climbing, So I just to trim my hair, I started to trim my hair, and I went a little too short, and I ended up shaving my head. Well, not shaving it bald, but it was like a 1/4 of an inch long. And
I've done that.
yeah, it was an accident. Well, sort of an accident. I think now that it was my heart directing me, but I just wasn't consciously recognizing that. And I kept my hair short for 3 years. And then the pandemic hit, and now it's like almost down to my waist. So, yeah, there is that. I found out later that shaving one's head is a thing in some cultures, none of which have anything to do with me. Like, I'm not connected to those cultures at all. But it was interesting to me that was an expression of 3 years. I'm not kidding. I look back on it now and I see that it was an expression of mourning. It was mourning. It wasn't because that's what mourning is. It's an expression of grief, right? So yeah, I see now that it was mourning.
Yeah.
And I wish I had been more conscious of that at the time, honestly.
River said, my husband is from Ireland.
Oh.
The wake and burial process is so quick, but also very communal. Every other week, it's, my dad went to such and such and so's wake today, even though it was just a neighbor. It's like
everybody. Yeah. You just go. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many amazing things being said in the chat. I am so sorry I am not able to capture all of them. If you're watching on my channel, I do have it set up so the chat replays. You can watch the chat. It takes about a day or so. There was... okay, so we've got... I'm going to take a breath. Hang on.
We could do with a musical interlude. Do you have any of your interesting little word thingies to put up now?
Yeah, here we go. This section of the video is brought to you by the word flim-flam. Everyone say it with me. Flim-flam. Flim-flam. Deceptive nonsense. No flim-flam here. Like, share, and subscribe to our channels. Flim-flam. I know what y'all thought I was going to do. Y'all thought I was going to play a particular word.
Nope,
It had something to do with the tears in our eyes.
No, I actually had no idea what you were. No.
Now that you mention it,
I thought about it. I want you to know I thought about it. So, in the interest of making sure, I think what's really important is let's talk about living with change. The idea of living with change is grief is an emotional grief happens with any change that we have. And it's paying attention to, we no longer have what used to be, whether it be someone in our lives, it could be a pet, it could also be a job or a home, a particular routine that is gone. So the idea of this, it happens. We have been changed. There's an idea, let me get the full title. Melody Beattie wrote the book The Grief Club.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
The Grief Club is very, very helpful. And I'm actually talking, I'm teaching a friend to knit. One of the things she talked about was this is a club that nobody ever wants to join. But when you join it, you're always a member.
Yeah.
It gave me pause to go, ooh, I never really thought of that. And one of the things that I noticed is I had an opportunity to meet with her to teach her to knit. Oftentimes I would be listening. I would be listening with compassion and an ear to what the process was, because her sister passed away unexpectedly, and it really left her for a loop. Of course, as expected. She was reading this book. I was listening to her. And part of what I said to her was, you do realize what you're doing is exactly normal and it's okay.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want to feel like this. I know
nobody does.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
I did notice that, we would talk, and oftentimes the first time we were together, it was a good 45 minutes of talking about what was going on. A couple of months later, it was just about 5 minutes. I happened to mention that. I said, I want to honor you and recognize you are doing the hard work. You're showing up for yourself and you're honoring the way you're feeling. And she's like, oh, I didn't notice that. And then, of course, that made her sad. She was not thinking about it as much. But you said you're still a member of the club, and it's going to show up unexpected ways.
Yeah.
yes.
So,
yeah.
One of the things that I did, now this is living with change, is what therapists call processing grief. You're sitting with it, and you really are kind of working through it. One of the things that I did, and I'm probably unique in this, is that I got lost in video games. I played video games from the time I woke up in the morning until I went to bed at night. I didn't want to be here and feel the pain. So if I occupied myself playing video games all day, my favorite ones were like episodic ones like the Lara Croft games, Tomb Raiders, and those kinds of games. Devil May Cry, all of those. I would play those games with the puzzles in them, and that would occupy my mind so that I thought I didn't have to process the grief, but it was my way of processing the grief. It was my way of working through it. So I thought I was not feeling, but I actually was, because I was working out my feelings through what was going on the screen. And I was participating in it so that it made something concrete for me to do.
I'm glad you were able to let yourself do that. That's important.
I've always done it. I even did it when video games were pinball machines. I would go down to the corner and play. My dad said it wasn't ladylike, but I would go down to the corner store and play pinball.
I have to do it twice as hard. Yes,
I've always done it ever since. So I even before video games, I was doing it. But it was always my way to work through things. I don't do that as much anymore. I do it once in a while, but now I play games for enjoyment. I don't play them because I need to.
Yeah. Timmy shared playing video games as a form of
exteroceptive.
What Linda said, meditation.
How kind of a word is that, Timmy? Jeez.
Yeah, I need to write it down, and it could be a word. Hypnicity says, I process a lot of thoughts while playing video games. We all process, and the idea of processing is a natural aspect. Maybe it's diving deeply into a new study, a new topic. Could be gardening. It could be sleeping.
It could be.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, there comes a point when we need to realize, all right, now I'm avoiding instead of.
That's okay. It's okay to avoid.
It is okay to avoid to a certain point when things start to get a little weary and one gets whiffy because they have not showered in a number of days. I know showering's overrated.
Hot baths is where it's at.
There you go. Oh, here you go. Focusing on things outside of yourself to induce peace of mind.
Exteroceptive.
Obviously a patriarchal word, am I right?
Yes. I think he just made it up. I don't really
and Monkey agrees. Monkey agrees. So living with change, here's an interesting thing. Note the word living.
Yes.
Yeah.
The way one lives has changed because of the loss, whatever that is.
Oh.
Do you have something you want to put up?
Me?
My craft is pottery, and I worked through a lot while I'm elbow deep in clay, but my mom was my pottery business partner, so getting back into it was complicated.
I'll bet.
Yes, very much so. And it is very hard.
That's really difficult. I'm so sorry.
Yes. Wow.
And I saw a comment earlier from someone who was told, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who this was. Please forgive me. There's a lot going through my head right now. Who was told that, I guess when their brother died, that your brother wouldn't mourn you the way you're mourning him. There you go. Yeah, it was low. Yeah. That's a really shitty thing to say, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cruel. And it was like, what was the point? Just to hurt you? And secondly, how could they possibly know?
Correct. Vanessa shared, sometimes I'm okay.
Don't talk to them anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Sometimes I'm okay when it hits me in the chest so hard that I have to pull over and cry.
Yeah, I've had to do
Of course you do.
that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's really very important to be able to do that. Okay.
When my mom passed, I was so devastated. And then within a year, I had a stillbirth. And I was so devastated for about 2 years that I couldn't function. And then when I did start to function, then I didn't do things. I didn't get back into the swing of things quickly. So I was kind of floundering, and things would hit me like that. I would just be driving down the street and see a street sign. And in fact, I saw a street sign about 5 years ago that stopped me in my tracks. And so you just don't know when the waves are coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now they may get smaller, but they may never stop completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Grief is waves, not steps.
Yes.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
the undertow of some of the waves of grief are so shocking. It's unsettling, because it's like, I was not expecting that. So yeah, you're getting a lot of love, Deb. So,
Thank you.
and yes, Monkey is loving you very much.
Yes. He does. He is my baby. He thinks he's my baby. He thinks he's my natural baby.
Yes. Vanessa shares, I'm not the same person, and I know that, but I know I'm still in here somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, of
You
course.
are.
You
Give
absolutely
yourself time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Grief is a maelstrom.
Yes. And we forgive us. We all forgive us, our own selves.
Eventually.
Eventually.
And I think it's one of those key things that is important. We have to support ourselves and others. And even my computer agrees with me, given the thumbs up. And supporting ourselves, I mean, how do we do that?
It's really hard. Well, it was really hard for me because I was so I lost my husband too, but it wasn't nearly the kind of loss that Matthews was. Okay. And also my husband died like more than 20 years ago. So that's pretty well settled. I don't actually even miss him anymore. I'm sad he left, but he was kind of a jerk in a lot of ways. And so, I feel okay about it. But Matthew's loss is something that I don't even know what I needed. I couldn't tell you what I needed.
Yes.
So, asking people for support.
The first way you support yourself is giving yourself permission to grieve.
Yeah.
Wise words.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
Very
it.
wise.
Yeah.
And this is a book. This is mentioned in the book, Grief Club, offering choices instead of asking open-ended, what do you need?
Yeah.
I don't know what I need.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have told you. I literally could not have told you if you asked me, what did I need? I would not have been able to give you a sensible answer, because the answer would have been, I need Matthew alive now. That's
Yes.
what I would have needed.
So asking what do you need is not helpful. Saying, would you like coffee or tea?
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a shit.
Would you like some food? I'm going to have a sandwich. Would you like one?
Yes.
You don't have to say, what do you need? Because the grieving person doesn't know. So give them the choices. Ask a closed question.
Yeah.
What would you prefer? Do you want to just sit here and not even talk? Can I sit with you?
Yes.
You know, those kinds of things are so much more helpful.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the things that I remember is when my father was in hospice care.
Yeah.
Of course I went to work, because that's what one does.
Right.
And I had people who, I actually think it was right after he passed away. It was before the service, and I went to work, and it was, I walked in, and it was almost like it was an intervention, because all of my staff and my boss said, you're going to need time off. And so what are the things that are occupying your mind right now? And I sort of like, well, I pulled out my calendar. I have to do this. 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 And they wrote them down. And within like 30 seconds, the people in the room each took some of those things, and they went, great, we've got these things. Now go home. And I said, I need to be here for a little bit. I need to be around people, and so I don't need to think about this. And they were all very good with that. And but then at the later in the day, I went, okay, now I'm going home. So this idea of what do you need, it may be heartfelt. People who say it, they're saying it because they want to help. And I believe they're meaning it for all of the right reasons.
Out of love. Yeah.
They're saying it out of love. And, I watched something on social media recently where some guy said to his friend, I know you're grieving, and I know you don't want to talk to anybody right now, but I'm going to call you at 9:45 every day, and you can pick up and we can talk, or you could not pick up. I'm okay either way. Sure enough, the guy called 9:45 every day, and it was about a week before the guy actually picked up the phone. Because here's the thing, in many cultures, you get a lot of help that first week, and it's the 2 days after the funeral where suddenly the person is by themselves, and not by themselves, they're alone with all of their thoughts and their feelings. That's when you call up that person and you say, hey, I'm picking you up in a half an hour, and I'm taking you out for coffee. Let's go.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yes. Yes. And they may resist. If they really don't want to go, don't force it. But if you can get them out of the house, it will help them tremendously.
Yeah. And the fact that you can say, I'm coming over and I'm doing your laundry.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. I look horrible. Good. I'm not there to see you. I'm there to do your laundry.
Your laundry. Exactly. Those sorts of things are worth so much. And the grieving person may not even notice that you've been doing it. They may acknowledge it and then forget.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because it's something they really needed.
This is a really hard question to answer, especially someone who is in the midst of grief. What kind of support feels truly helpful? One thing that you can do is you can look someone in the eyes and you could say, I don't know what to say.
Absolutely.
I'm so sorry. And then stop talking and just be present with
Yeah.
the person.
Yeah. And people don't know how, like, people don't know how to just say that, you know, just
They don't.
Yep.
you have an outpouring of emotion from someone, and as a listener, as a friend, okay, didn't forget you're there.
Mhm.
And we should talk about anticipatory grief as well, when you're with someone that's dying.
Mhm.
We've forgotten how to be silent, how to just hold
Yes.
space.
And that's such a, okay, I'm going to say it, and don't come at me, okay?
Okay.
Native people, or First Nations people, they say, oh, that's such a white thing to do.
What? Hold space?
It's not shut up.
Oh, not shut up. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yes.
You just got to fill that space with words and more words and more words and and the people that see that that's powerful.
Mhm.
And see, Native people will just sit there, and people think that I'm aloof and standoffish when I don't like them, because I just sit quietly with people because I'm enjoying the vibe, and just being there is good. And oh man, she doesn't like me. No, why? Because I don't all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And River brought up
Shut up. Just shut up and be
shut
there.
up and be present. That's why you should all be knitting or doing needlepoint or crochet, something like that.
Yeah.
Because you can just be in the same space.
Yeah.
River said people from Mom's church and her friends reached out so much that it was overwhelming and felt invasive. But her best friend gave me space and support from afar, and is now a good friend 4 years on.
Yes.
So there is this need to pay attention to how much, because let me tell you, sometimes the support that is needed is to be left alone.
I wanted to address what Linda said about anticipatory grief.
Yes.
I had, as I mentioned, lost my mother when I was 22 years old, and then I had a stillbirth when I was 23. With my mom, we thought she'd had a stroke. We took her to the hospital. They said, no, she has a brain tumor, and she's only got a short time to live. And she lived for 5 weeks after her diagnosis. In that time, they bombarded her with treatments. They did brain surgery on her. They made her lose her ability to communicate. It was horrible. And all this time, we knew that her body was shutting down, and we're about to lose her. And you do cry all the tears, and you think that you're ready, but you are never ready.
No.
You are never ready.
No.
So,
no, you never are.
It's just an extension of the grief. And the anticipatory grief is just an extension. And here's another thing. When my son was born and he was disabled, I had to grieve for the child that I would never have.
Correct.
I had to grieve for, not ever getting to see first steps, for never getting to, it took 4 years for him to say words. All of the things that you have with a normal, healthy child, I didn't have any of that. And I had to grieve it while I was taking care of him. So, there are so many facets of grief, and we feel different levels of pain with all of them.
That's well said. Linda, what would you like to say about anticipatory grief?
Well, I've had 3 now experiences of anticipatory grief. My mother, who died when I was 22 as well, Deb, and while I was pregnant with Matthew. And we had known for 2 years that she had leukemia, and she wanted to come home to die. So I came and looked after her and my dad in the last 2 weeks of her life. And we did not get along, as I'm we weren't close, we weren't friends. And I'm glad I did it. You know, I'm glad I did it. It wasn't easy, and I'm glad I did it. And my husband, who I knew as a quote unquote elderly diabetic, I knew that he wasn't going to have much time left. And then when he got congestive heart failure, well, that shortened the time even more. And so we both knew that we did not have much time together. We ended up being together for like 15 years, but the last 2 years were he was in heart failure and it was touch and go. And now with Wanda, she has you guys all know this, she has avian-borne virus. It is fatal. It is progressive. There is no cure for it. And so my job with her is to decide when to let her go. And so I can see that happening in the next 6 months. She can't walk anymore and she can't fly anymore, but she's not losing weight and she's still engaged in the world around her. She still argues with the budgies. She's still she's still connected to the world around her. So that's going to be a really, really tough decision to make that's coming up. And what I have to say about all of those experiences is the thing that helps me the most, and it'll be different for you guys, okay, pretty well, I'm sure, because none of us are the same. What helps me the most is being in the moment. Mm-hmm. She's here now. I love her. I treasure her. I'm giving her medications twice a day, whether she takes them or not. She gets her little nugget of medication with medication in it. And, but this has an end that's coming. The relationship will end soon. And so my way of coping with it is just not thinking about the end, just being here now. That's just how I'm coping with it. Yeah.
Okay.
So anticipatory grief, like I've seen other people say, and I think you said it too, Deb, you can't grieve ahead of time. I know that my dad cried a lot when we found out my mother's diagnosis, and he was just overwhelmed. And when she finally did die, he said to me, all bewildered, he said, but I thought I did all my crying, and it still hit him in the gut. And I'll tell you, when my husband died, I felt like, even though we knew all along, I felt like I had, that there was a missing, like I had a missing limb, and that my skin, I didn't have, it felt like a really bad sunburn. Like I could not stand being touched. And what I ended up doing was, to cope with it, was going to the family Family History Society library and just I went there like every weekday that they were open. I went there from the time I came home from work to about 8 o'clock at night and researched in the microfiche and everything, my birth family's genealogy. I got very good at it. I got some really interesting results. And it turns out that that's not my genetic family, because my grandfather of record is not the grandfather who actually donated the sperm. So it's a long story and it's very funny. Well, I think it is. Anyway, so so in that dark place, looking at records of families, that was how I dealt with partly how I dealt with my dad's death, because that really hit me hard. It was my dad's death. And my husband's, both of them hit me hard. But man, when my dad died, that was the first real deep grief I experienced. We're all so strange and we're all so weird, aren't we?
And isn't that wonderful?
I think so.
Yes, absolutely.
One other idea that comes up in the Grief Club by Melanie Beattie: every major change comes with grief. Recognizing that reduces shame. When you recognize you are grieving, it reduces the shame about it.
Yes.
How interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting.
I had never would have connected grief and shame that way.
No.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It's one of the things. Hello, Beth. Beth loves that. It rings true.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, it feels true to me, but it's not something I would ever put together. I need to think about that.
I think that shame comes out of our modern thinking about death, that we should be able to put it in a box and sanitize it in such a way as to be able to get past it in a week or 2 weeks or a month. But the problem is with that is that's not part of living. If you don't grieve, then you're missing out on a big piece of living, something that shapes your character and personality into a true and authentic person.
Yeah. Yeah. It's loving. It's about loving.
Yes, it's about love.
It is an important aspect to when there is loss, you share it with people so they can, bless you, so they are able to grieve. I mean, it is a hard conversation to have, an important one to have.
Yeah.
Delaying it because it makes you uncomfortable is not fair to the others.
Well, and your grief is going to make other people very uncomfortable because it brings up their grief, processed or unprocessed or whatever. And I mean, what the hell does that mean, processed, in terms of grief? You're going to live with it. It's going to be a part of you.
Yes.
It's never going to go away. And yes, Beth, grief is very inconvenient for other people, and they will tell you, oh, you need therapy. I mean, I heard this with Matthew, because that grief was absolutely and utterly and completely shattering for me. About a year later, someone said, well, you're just like so sad all the time. And I went like, yeah. And well, maybe you should seek some professional help. Like, well, how is that going to help me? I'm living what I'm feeling. They're no longer a friend of mine, by the way.
Good.
But
yeah, it can bring up their grief, but it can also bring up their inability to know what to do emotionally or to fix something.
Yeah. Well. Oh, I love this.
Oh yeah. The quote is very much connected to me. Grief is like glitter. No matter how much you try to clean it up, some pieces will always remain.
Yeah. The herpes of the emotional world.
I think this is a really good visual. The importance of honoring and recognizing the loss frames it so we are able to move on and to find gratitude in what is going on. There's even, here's a paradox. I have gratitude in the grieving process.
Yeah.
Yes. And what Hypnicity said, that's when you learn to appreciate the sparkle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much. Very much. So.
What?
Oh, I mean, this has been wonderful. One thing that's really important is this idea of keeping compassion sustainable when grief feels constant.
Yes. It's difficult.
It is very difficult. I would love for people to tell me how they do it. Sometimes I struggle, and I'm going to share this because sometimes there is a feeling of grief fatigue.
Yeah.
It is so constant. It's like, oh, mine. Observing others, observing it across the world. It's just like, I don't know what to do about that. So if people have some suggestions about being compassion, how to keep compassion sustainable when grief feels consistent or constant, my first answer to that goes back to this idea of every major chain carries grief. Recognizing it reduces shame.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think part of that is recognizing that grief is triggering your grief over whatever.
Well said.
So look after your own business, and then the compassion just fills in the spaces. I don't know. I'm not expressing myself very clearly, I know, and I'm trying to find the words. But that's as close as I can come. If you can look after your own, like clean up your own mess inside of you, your own grief, and be aware of your own grief and how the two are interacting, your friend's grief or your loved one's grief and your own, and find the compassion in there for both of you, for yourself.
Yes.
In feeling your grief, and for your loved one feeling their grief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be okay with not being okay. I have not been okay for like 30 years, and I'm fine with that.
Me too. I'm there with you, Linda.
Yeah.
Well, and so this idea, how to keep compassion sustainable when grief feels constant. Madame Moreau suggested, turn it into anger and use it for fuel to make changes. I love the idea of some righteous anger. However, I have to make sure that anger is actually righteous and grounded, because when I am not grounded, I get a little wonky and I may make choices that may not be the best, that I may regret a little bit later.
Or immediately, in my case.
There's something that I do is I try to do something creative. So I'm not artistic, but I can make things, and I can do things like color. And I recently ordered a 519 piece moving thing that with wings and dragons, and it's going to take me months to build. But
now I'm curious.
Where did you find it? I'm dying to know more about. But anyway, go on. Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, I'll tell you later. So I found this thing I'm going to build. I have built big things. I've built ships and that sort of thing. So I can do the intricate stuff. I don't see so well, and my hands don't work so good. So we're going to see how that works out. but I have this thing to build. So part of processing the communal grief that we're all feeling right now, what with the way things are in the world, is get creative. Do something with your hands.
Yes.
And if that creativity lends itself to going out with a sign and standing on a corner and singing songs, do that.
Then do it.
But whatever your heart tells you to do that, but do it out of love and creativity instead of going for so much negative response. Try to be inspirational in what you do instead of something that you might not be so proud of later.
Yeah.
I do. I think the idea of telling someone they should be over their grief or they should be dating. There are ways to actually engage someone that you're seeing from an observer standpoint. There's talking about, have you thought about what would help you? And to approach it differently, to say flat out, you should be over this by now. Don't tell me what I should be doing.
Yeah. All the people who said that to me are out of my life.
Yes.
Grief
will help you weed out the weeds.
Oh, yeah. Grief will absolutely trim your connections right down. The people who can't stand to be with you when you're grieving clearly did not love you.
Yes.
Did not love you more than their need to protect themselves.
Remember, everyone grieves differently. It's messy, cyclical, and individual.
Yeah.
Get over this. Slams the door.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much.
After my husband left, I cried every night for an entire year, Beth says. After about 6 months, I complained to my good friend, and she said, "You'll stop crying when you're ready." So simple, but meant so much.
Yeah.
And true. So true.
Very true.
Yeah.
It has been an honor to share space with everyone. Thank you for being here. Linda, do you have any last minute thoughts on grief and the mourning and moving through change?
It made me a better person. It made me more compassionate. I can't believe I'm saying this, fuck. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the people I knew who are not on this plane anymore, who aren't here with me anymore. I'm grateful for having known them. And I'm grateful for the love and the grief. It did make me a better person. I think.
Thank you. You are an awesome person. And if you've forgotten that, Linda, you're awesome.
Always right. I thought it was going to be that I was always right. Oh, okay.
Well, you're always right, but you're always awesome. Deb, what thoughts do you have about this really topic?
Give your permission to do whatever it is that you need to do to heal your own soul.
Yeah.
Don't listen to other people, and other than to look for good, positive suggestions. If you are helping someone through the grief process, remember that it goes past 2 weeks or a month. Remember, they might need checking in on later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah.
3 months. Yeah. And Iron Firehorse has got nothing to do with how old you are.
Mm-mm.
Nothing to do about how you live long enough. It's about just moving through it and accepting that you're not going to be okay, and saying, keeping a two-fisted grip on reality as much as you possibly can, because grief takes you out of reality.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
And it just takes you out of it. So grounding and being like connected to the world around you as much as you won't be able to do it at first. When it first hits you,
yes.
You won't be able to do it very much at all, because you're just like locked literally in this place. But as time goes on, you can move out of that, go for walks in the park. It may take 3 months for you to be able to leave the house for anything other than work or doctor's appointments or whatever. Stay with it. It gets better. It does get better.
Beth shared, I personally feel fighting grief prolongs it. Resistance is persistence.
Yeah.
I want to say a couple of things. The idea, grief changes form, but but it remains part of love.
Yeah.
Grief changes, but the fact of how you loved someone does not change.
Right.
Yeah.
Please be very aware of that. I encourage everybody to figure out their little rituals that help them, those micro actions, those little things that are going to help them find a moment of peace, solitude, and connection, whether it be lighting a candle, having a cup of coffee,
Going to the garden store.
Yes, going to the garden store, writing notes, walking in nature, writing down and doing the death day remembrances.
Jesus.
And speaking the names out loud.
Yeah.
It's so, so very important.
Yeah.
I encourage everybody, you find what works for you.
Yes.
If you have something that works for you and you're willing to share it, leave a comment. I would love to see what works for people. I actually have a box for my ancestors, which are partners, animals, my family members who have passed on. I have that in a little box. It's my ancestor box. So when I want to honor them, I pull that out, I look at it, I put it back together. So
I'm lucky. I have a lot of my late husband's art. I have all of it that he left behind, which anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Yeah, those things are important.
Yeah. Beth said Tarot and Stevie Nicks. I know, how cliche.
No, why? That's not cliche at all.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say that. I can't imagine why you think that's cliche. And Stevie Nicks is awesome, by the way.
There you go. Oh, here you go. All Souls Day to honor my ancestors.
That's what it's for.
Yes.
Yes.
Or if you're in the Latina community, it's Dia de los Muertos, which lasts, I understand, quite a number of days. So
correct. Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. This has been a very special laugh and learn. Remember, there is no right way to grieve, only your way.
Yes.
And be gentle with yourself. Honor your feelings and reach for the connections that remind you that you are not alone. Thank you, everybody. Take care.